Hello, it is on this day again, March 3rd, 2022, that I'm going to do a very quick little book catalog. I'm going to be standing up a lot. My bookshelf is directly above me. It's been a while since I've shown you guys, but there's my bookshelf. It just sits there. Notably, if you remember from old videos, I have a lot less books than I used to have since I moved, because I can only fit so many here. So we're going to cover the books I have here in front of me first. Then we're going to cover books I have on the Kindle, which then there's two books that I can't show you guys because my Kindle is not happy with me. And then I will find a way to roundaboutly talk about the books that I have left at home. So we'll figure that out when we get there. I'll see if I can edit a picture on. We'll do it right here. Edit a picture right here. But I won't be able to like point or anything like that. So bear with me. But, you know. Alright, should we go left to right or right to left? We'll go from right to left. So, whoop. There's our first stack of books. Actually, I want to grab 2 stacks of books. Whoopsie. There we are. Alright. Everything's falling. That's how it goes. Alright, so we have a stack here. We're gonna go crazy. So if we're going in order, this is a long series, okay? This is an 18-book series I'm holding right now with 2 side books on top of that. But 18? 17. What am I on about? 17 book series with 2 side books. But I only have 5 of them here with me. So this is Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. I still have them. I brought these books. The top 3 and Battleground are some of my favorites of all time in this series. I brought White Knight because I was actually working on a little personal project with White Knight, which I still need to finish that project so I can send it to Priscilla. I don't know if you guys know Dresden Files, you may know who Priscilla is. I was working on a little project for her, and I haven't worked on it in a while, and I kind of need to. So these are the Dresden Files books I brought with me. Book 15, Book 14, Book 12, Book 9, and Book 17. Book 17 was fucking good. So yeah, I'm going to try to put these back up because I'm already out of desk space and that did not last long. There we are. Alright, next one is Aeronaut's Windlass by Jim Butcher. I have not read this book. I don't plan to read this book until The Olympian Affair, which is a sequel, comes out. It's not announced yet, so I don't know when that will come out. We shall see, I guess. So yeah. I love how perfect this stands. This is amazing. I'm going to start standing them right here. So, yeah. Have not read it. Don't plan to read it. It's possible I won't even read it when Olympian Affair comes out, unless it sounds like a series that will interest me. Shrug. So that is Aeronaut's Windlass. Another random book. We have Harrow the Ninth by, I don't know how to say this name, and I'm not going to try, I'm sorry. But we have Harrow the Ninth by this author here. This is the sequel to Gideon the Ninth. I listened to Gideon the Ninth, the audiobook. We'll talk about that later. But I have Harrow the Ninth as a little bendy paper, hard plastic back thing. It's like a plastic back. I don't know if that's a term, but yeah, so we have Harrow the Ninth. It's a very reflective cover, sorry. She does look pretty, let's be honest. Alright. And then, why's my monitor turning off? We're not going to talk about my comic books, but I do have some comic books, because I am a nerd. Well, let's find out, admit that one. We have this trilogy. Is this the first book? It is, right? Yeah. This trilogy, this needs to go up a little bit. Sins of Empire by Brian McClellan. This is the first book of Gods of Blood and Powder. Very lovely series. I do love this series. I haven't read it yet. I'm talking about how lovely the series is without reading it. I've read the prequel series to this, and I haven't read the sequel series before. Quick note, in my previous book catalog, I said that this was the prequel series. I'm wrong. This is the sequel series. Whoops. But yeah, I've been reading novellas that reference these books, and it's been amazing. So, little novellas. You'll notice this book is smaller than the previous one. This is the UK edition. This is the US edition. I made a mistake. Don't make this mistake. That is my lesson of the day. Don't do what I did here. So, take note. And this is probably one of my favorite covers of all time. Other people may think it's very plain. Oh, but I think it's gorgeous. I love this cover so much. It's so pretty. So yeah, this is book 3, the conclusion of the trilogy of Gods of Blood and Powder. I'm very excited to read these. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm waiting for the prequel series to settle in my head before I touch these. And I'm also reading some other books. But one day, we will get to them. Next. Kind of put those on the bookshelf. Next, we have the prequel series that I just finished reading not that long ago. I believe it was like the 2nd of January or something like that this year. Or that I finished the second book. It was in early January that I finished the series. Promise of Blood. I read it a long time ago. This is book 1 of Powder Mage. Just Powder Mage. You can see book 1 of Powder Mage trilogy. Little thick. Just a little bit. Kind of fun. And then we have the second one, the Crimson Campaign. Ooh, second book. Something just fell, and I don't know what it was. And the third one, which is another one of my favorite covers ever. Oh, another just gorgeous cover. It's the red. This is like the flag of the country. It's actually a really cool flag. There's some photos of it on the internet. It's like a sea with a teardrop and a mountain. It's very cool. Anyway, also a very pretty cover, and it tells you a lot about the plot. Very fun series. I love it. I really love it. It's one of the series that has the most likable characters I've ever had in a book. Like, I love basically everybody, except for like two antagonists. So, very fun series. I am a character lover, so do take note. Alright. Oh, that's what fell. I look up and all my books fell over. It sounded like it was behind me. I guess it echoed. Alright, next we have a very famous book. Yep. I have not read it yet. This is the gold. Oh, it's really not that fancy. You just get it at Barnes & Noble. But you get it expensively at Barnes & Noble. I have not read it yet. Here's the reason why I've not read it. It's on my list. But one person told me that it's very dense and philosophical and hard to understand. Recently, another person told me that it really isn't, and that I, compared to them, definitely have the capability. Whoa. Oh. Wow. That was an optical illusion. That was throwing me off. I definitely have the capability to read this, is what she said. And so, I guess I'll be reading Dune soon. I do own the first book. I don't own the rest of the series. I need to get them. The problem about getting this edition is that the rest won't match this one. I'm kind of upset at myself now. So I think I'll get the rest on Kindle, maybe. We'll see. But, Dune. The reason I wasn't letting this sit here is because this word is going to fall over. Why is my laptop keep powering off? Alright. So there's that one. Next, we have House of Suns by Alistair Reynolds. Very good sci-fi author, very famous sci-fi author. Whoop. I actually own 2 of the books that are on the back of this also. We'll talk about that later. Very pretty cover. Don't judge a book by its cover. But if it has a pretty cover, gorgeous. We love our beautiful covers. This does look really freaking cool. So, I have not read this. I don't actually even know what any of his books are about. I just know that I want to read them. And that's all. Next up, we have the First Law trilogy that I brought with me from home. So we have these. I love these covers also. Shocking. These, I paid extra money just to get these covers specifically. I think these were like $18 to $20 each. So, but this is the blade itself, the first book of the First Law trilogy. I just love that art style. The guy with the sword. Focus. 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 It's not gonna focus. Oh well. The guy with the sword there. And then the second one has this guy in the top left. I don't know what he's doing, but this is before they are hanged. And then we have maybe my favorite of the 3. I don't know why, but I just love this cover. I think it's the way he's standing or something. I feel there's a lot of personality in just that right there. But anyway, I love these covers. I have not read the First Law trilogy. These are grimdark. I need to scoot, sorry. These are grimdark, so I simultaneously keep wanting to read them and being scared of reading them. And so I keep procrastinating them. But I do get in the mood to read these sometimes. So one of these times I'll be in the mood long enough that I actually pick them up. But in a bit you'll see why there's a certain series postponing all the other books. Also, can we just talk about the red, blue, and yellow? It's also pretty good. They look good on the bookshelf. Alright, next we have Faithful in the Fallen by John Gwynne. Ugh, these are chonk. These are very chonk books. Malice is the first book. By the way, in German, this cover says Mach, and I love it because it's like Mach, but with a T at the end. I just want to say that I love that Mach was like the German, I'm probably not saying that right, the German version of this title, Malice. I don't know if it exactly means malice or if it's similar, but yeah. Malice. John Gwynne, Faithful in the Fallen. And then we have Valor, which is very green, yellowy. It's actually green, but it looks yellow. Valor. And then we have Ruin. This is very chonk book. I don't know how I can show how big this is, but it's like my hand thick. It's big. I don't actually know how the word count holds up to any of the Stormlight Archive books, but I just know this is a huge book. So there's Ruin. And Wrath, which I think is smaller than Ruin. Yeah, Wrath is smaller than Ruin, but it's the last book. I think it is, at least. So here's Wrath. I have not read the series. I do need to adventure into the Banished Lands, as these are referred to, but I haven't yet. Alright. And then finally, we have the series that I plan to read next after I finish Mistborn Era 2. Little Tiny Story. I've been wanting to read this series for 2.5 years now. For a long time. And I kept postponing them because I was worried about the size, and I knew that the last book was going to come out back last December, so I was like, I'll wait till the last book comes out. All the way back 2 years ago, I was like, I'll wait till the last book. I cannot wait anymore. I have been so excited to read this series for so long. And I cannot wait anymore. My friend sent me like a little clip of one of the, or like a photo of one of the pages that they were reading. I want to read these so bad. So bad. So I'm gonna give in. I'm gonna start reading these right after. This is The Expanse by James S.A. Corey, which is a pseudonym for 2 authors. This is the sci-fi series I may be the most excited to read in my whole life. And we'll see. I think I'll love them. I think I'll absolutely adore them. It's possible I won't, but I think I will. And I've been excited for so long, and I want to get to it. So this is the first book, Leviathan Wakes. You may have heard about the last book that came out called Leviathan Falls. When you name the last book the opposite of the first book, I mean, come on. This is Caliban's War. I do not know if I'm saying it right. I have not read the series yet. I do not plan to watch the show, by the way. I don't watch TV. But it's Caliban's War. And then here's Abandoned Gate. These covers are also pretty damn cool. I don't know how I feel with the hot pink right on the spine, but it kind of goes well with the blue, so I guess I'll take it. I guess. I'll buy the 4th book of that series as soon as I start loving the first book. Alright, let me reorganize my bookshelf for a second, because I messed everything up. Boop-a-doop. Alright, and then, 1 second, I'm super close. And then that leaves this stack of books right here that I was using as a little platform. Nope, not that one. You didn't see that. You saw nothing. Alright, first you have Alloy of Law, right? Yeah, Alloy of Law, the first book of the Wax and Wayne series, which is Era 2 of Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. These are actually very small, and they are packed. So, a lot of the books I showed are, like, thick, really. This is, like, super thin in comparison. This is still very content-heavy, though. And so, there's my warning. These will surprise you. They definitely surprised me. Especially after I read all of Powder Mage. I was like, whoa. The book I'm currently reading, Shadows of Self, the 2nd book of the same series, Wax and Wayne. Shadows of Self. These are all the UK covers, so you may be familiar with the US covers. But all of my Sanderson books, except for the original Mistborn, but I'm going to replace those, are all going to be UK covers, because I like the UK covers more. Yes, Stormlight Archive does have some freaking amazing US covers, but I like having all my spines match. So, maybe I'm a little picky. Here's Warbreaker. This is a standalone inside the Cosmere, as I understand. I may be wrong, but as I understand, this is a standalone in Cosmere. You can't tell, but this is purple. And it looks really cool. Or the name, Brandon Sanderson, is in purple. It's very cool. And the name... Sorry, I totally set down a book on my keyboard, which ended my recording, and I should very much not do that. Whoops. I believe the recording ended when I was on Warbreaker, so the last one for Sanderson is Arcanium Unbounded. You can see the green text here, and this has Secret History inside of it for Mistborn, so I'll be reading that after I finish Wax and Wayne. Everything on my desk is falling. So, yeah, Warbreaker, and then this one, and that is it for all the Sanderson books I brought with me from home. Really quick switch into the Kindle. My Kindle books have not changed, I don't think, since my last update, my last book catalog. But we'll go through them anyway. So these are the 3 Discworld books I own by Terry Pratchett, Guards, The We Free Men, which I saw a lot of people argue about back when I bought it, and Equal Rights. I plan to do the Guards route first. We're going to skip those. Here's all of my fantasy books. I have not read any of these. The The Traitor God, Jade City by Fonda Lee. Traitor God is by Cameron Johnson. Yes, Johnston. Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch. Yep. Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. We're going to skip that one that's there and go straight to Time of Dread by John Gwynne. Time of Dread is the sequel series of Faithful and the Fallen, which I showed you guys. Or is a part of that sequel series. Sword of Kaigon by, I should know that, M.L. Wang. Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. Age of Assassins by R.J. Barker. We Ride the Storm by Devin Madsen, which apparently is grimdark. I didn't know that when I bought it. Grim Company by Luke Skull. Spellmonger by Terry Mancour. And The Black-Tongued Thief by Christopher Buehlman, who is a debut author at the time when I bought that. I don't know if he still is. He might actually be a famous author now. I think it's only been like a year, but still. This is Madame Fouquet's Secret War. It's a random historical fiction book I bought. It's by Lynn Olson. I'm sorry if I'm saying that one wrong. We got Promised Land by Robert B. Parker, The Vanishing Man by Charles Finch, and then 2 Agatha Christie books. Just because I read Agatha Christie as a kid, I thought I'd start re-getting them. Here are the other Alastair Reynolds books I have, as I said earlier. So The Martian by Andy Weir. Evidently, I have read The Martian. But I'm going to read it again and do an actual book review, because the first time I read it, I may or may not have been half-assed reading. Pushing Ice by Alastair Reynolds. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, I believe. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And Century Rain by Alastair Reynolds. Boop. The Rise of Sigurd trilogy. I don't know why the first book isn't loading, but I believe the first book is called... Nope. What is it called? Gods of Vengeance, or God of Vengeance. It's by Giles Christian, and then there's Winter's Fire and Wings of the Storm. Basically, Viking historical fiction. Very interesting. And a good audio narrator, I will admit. These are some books I read for school. So we got Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, and Salt to the Sea by Ruta. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. We have 1,000 Splendid Suns by another name that I always felt bad every time I tried to say it. I want to say Khalid Hosseini. I'm sorry. And From Earth to the Moon by Jules Verne. We're just going to skip The Vanishing Man, but I have The Vanishing Man there. Thrawn Ascendancy, the first book of Star Wars, as one should have. I believe Timothy Zahn wrote that one. And lastly, we have Terry Goodkind, who passed away in 2020, I believe, which is why I have his books. I want to read them. But Terry Goodkind, Wizard's First Rule, and Stones of Tears of the Sword of Truth series. And that is all of my Kindle books. I do have a very few audiobooks, so this is going to be hard to show, because as soon as I click them, they're going to play out loud. But if you squint, ignore Small Favor. I do have Small Favor by Jim Butcher on audiobook. We Are Legion, which I did a book review for, if you recall back in the day. An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth, which I also own in physical copy. I love that book, so I bought it multiple times. Theft of Swords was gifted to me by my friend, so I have it in audiobook also. And The Jester is a free short story for Theft of Swords. So those are the only audiobooks I have on my Kindle. I have 2 other audiobooks that don't show up on my Kindle, because my friends gifted them to me through Amazon UK. Turns out you can't log into Amazon UK on a Kindle, which kind of makes sense because I'm in the US. But anyway, my friends got me Gideon the Ninth on Amazon UK Audible, and they got me Crown of Roses, which is the actual first book I should read by Michael J. Sullivan, as I understand. They gave me a reading order, and I was like, I can't afford it, and then she gifted it to me, and I was like, I didn't want this. It was kind of funny. So that is all of those books. Now for the really hard bit, I'm going to talk about my books that aren't here and I can't really show you. I'm just going to be zooming in on a photo. Bear with me, okay? But the books I have at home include the rest of my Brandon Sanderson books. Here we go. The rest of my Brandon Sanderson books. So that's all Stormlight Archive. The Way of Kings is the bottom two, Words of Radiance are the middle two, and Oathbringer is the top two. I do not own Rhythm of War yet, and I do not own Elantris. I'm going to get them at some point. But this is all Stormlight Archive. I am scared to buy them. Here's the rest of my Dresden books. Right there. You can see they go up to Turncoat. Also, Ghost Story is in the middle. Ghost Story is sitting right where White Knight usually would be. I'm probably talking nonsense if you don't know the series, but I brought White Knight and not Ghost Story by accident, and I left Ghost Story, so oops. But yeah, that's all of those. And then there's some more at the end of the shelf. Stupid window is reflecting terribly. Those three on the left, Peace Talks, Briefcases, and Side Jobs. I don't know if that's your left. That's probably your right. I think that's your right. But those three very tall books are also part of Dresden Files. And then in the middle here, we have Codex Alera, also by Jim Butcher. I own all of the Codex Alera. I used to have ex-library copies, but I gave my ex-library copies to the library and bought copies to replace them. Because, yeah, I'm that kind of book collector. It's a terrible, terrible state of being. Next we have The Great Coats Tetralogy by Sebastian de Castell. So we've got Traitor's Blade, Knight's Shadow, Saint's Blood, and Tyrant's Throne. Next to that, we have two more Michael J. Sullivan books. We got Rise of Empire and Heir of Navran. I already showed you guys Herod of the Ninth, so just ignore that one. And also ignore Crimson Campaign. I did this over break, which is why I had those books. We have Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. We have a little tiny book by Lin-Manuel Miranda that my mom gave me. Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, which I have somewhere around here. I don't know how I lost that book. I'm reading it for class right now. But I also read it before I came to this class, and so it's kind of funny. Stop it. There we go. Sorry. Alright. And then at the very end there we have Midnight Riot by Ben Aronovich, which is part of the Rivers of London series. Mystery. At the top of this little stack here we have Mistborn. The first arrow. You'll notice that Well of Ascension is missing. My sister is reading Well of Ascension, so that's why it's not on my bookshelf. Below that we have, oh, you really can't see them. You have the Farseer trilogy, which is Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and Assassin's Quest, all by Robin Hobb. In the middle here, we have Sun Eater by Christopher Rocchio. That's another series I'm actually very excited to read. It's space opera, so very interesting. And then lastly, at the very top of this stack is Journeyer by Gary Jennings, which is a book I stopped reading in the middle of. We'll see if I can ever complete it. You'll notice in the previous book catalog, I had some more books that aren't on this bookshelf anymore. The reason for that is because since I started reading Malazan and failed Malazan, I went ahead and put the Malazan books in my closet. So if you're wondering where Malazan went, it's in my closet. I'm just gonna sit there until the one day that I believe I can read Malazan. If I never think I can read Malazan, I'm probably gonna give them to a library. Probably. So there's that, and I believe that is all of my books. I do own some comic books, if you guys are interested to see them. I'm not going to show this top one, because it's a little It's a little on the nose, but got the classic, as one should. I had a lot more at home, and I only brought a few with me. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. So, yeah, I only brought a few with me. My dad kept the rest. But I have some comics. And I have this. Because I'm a nerd, okay? But this is pretty amazing, and I do recommend it. I love her so much. And then these aren't comics, these are random things. But, yeah, that is all of my books at the moment. I did just pay $200 for 4 more books, but I have no idea what they're called. And I will be buying Expanse books as I read The Expanse. I will be buying Rhythm of War at some point. I don't know when. I'm waiting for there to, like, for 100% certain that the paperbacks are out in the UK edition, and I can make sure I get the UK edition that matches mine. At some point, I'm going to replace that Wrath of Empire, since it's the UK version, and I need the US version. So I'm going to do that again at some point. And then the last book I'm going to get is the 4th book of this series when it comes out this November. Maybe. Here's the problem, though. I need the paperback, so I might be waiting a year or 2. That happens a lot, doesn't it? Waiting. So yeah, that is all my books. We're back up to date again. And yay. I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.